the question was new economy, green economy, solidarity economy, socialism, what do you call the work you're doing? And a lot of times it's important in order to get work done not to approach it from the standpoint of an existing label, but really talk to it about it in a way where it grows out of people's life experiences. So one of the stories I like to tell when I try to help people understand a different way of thinking about the economy is I like to take the old fish story that everybody's heard. Give a person a fish, they'll eat for a day. Teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. And I like to point out why that's a lie. Not only is it a lie, it's a kind of a mean-spirited lie. That it's part of the whole blame the victim story that we've heard so many times. Because in a country like the United States, where education is readily available, it's simply enough to say that if people had just learned how to fish, they wouldn't be poor. But think about what happens if you know how to fish and all the water holes are locked up. You don't have access to a fishing pole or a water hole, then your knowledge of how to fish will not even feed you one meal, let alone the rest of your life. And in a country like the United States, where education is readily available, but where access to fishing poles and water holes is not, then this story serves a certain kind of way of supporting the status quo and blaming the victim. And I like to talk to people about access to fishing poles and water holes being the wealth of a community. It's wrapped up in your access to these productive opportunities that allow you yourself to produce enough not only to feed yourself, but also to make a profit for somebody else. And we know that any exploitative system is going to need you producing enough for more than for yourself, because you got to live and eat. But if you're not also producing the extra, that's where the accumulation comes from. So we live in a society where there's a huge amount of accumulation and this growing discrepancy in wealth that we talked about that was so much a part of the Occupy movement's discussion, the lesson that it helped teach the nation, and which is that this concentration of wealth ends up being a concentration of power in such a way that for democracy to be meaningful, you have to have control over something that makes a difference to you. It's not enough that you can control what color your hair is going to be and you can't control whether or not you're going to get a chance to eat, all right? So if we have a system of ownership that allows the people who own the water holes and fishing poles to tell you whether or not you can access them, and in fact make a bargain with you. Yeah, you can come here and access this as long as you catch one fish, first fish is mine, you get to keep one, and the next 9 you catch, I'm gonna keep them too. And this is the condition under which you get a chance to fish, because I own it. I mean, and ultimately ownership allows you to have control over the access to that which you own and how it's utilized. So you can make a conditional access. It's not like you can't fish in the lake. It's like you can only fish in it if you give me most of the fish. Sorry. So now, I haven't said socialism or that, you know, capitalism and private ownership of the means of production is bad. Not yet. I mean, I could say that. And some of you probably know that I did sort of just say that, except I didn't say it in those words. But you would be surprised, I have never yet got anybody to substantially argue to me that it doesn't make any difference who owns the water holes and the fishing poles. The last thing I wanted to say is that there are 3 conceptions of power that I think we need to understand the underlying assumptions of and the implications of. One is that power can crush you and you need to resist it. That's absolutely true, it can, and you must. But that's not enough. The other is that power could help you and you need to direct it. And that guides a lot of the public policy and advocacy work that people engage in. And the third is that we can be power. In that case, we need to organize. And when we organize, then we don't allow and simply accept the existence of existing power that we either direct or resist, but we say that we want to see new forms of power come into being, because quite frankly, a lot of the old forms will collapse under their own weight because of the inherent contradictions in how they're structured and organized.